What's up, guys? Was just listening to Jordan Peterson on Rogan. I feel like the last hour of his podcast a lot of times are the best. Like they get into like the best thing. Anyway, I'll just pause that for now. But I hope you guys are doing well. What's up, Johnny M? Always appreciate you guys smashing the like button if you like the live streams. So essentially, right now, what I'm looking at, I got the summer haircut. We got the AI thumbnail. What I'm looking at right now ultimately is a little bit of a speed bump that we could be hitting right now. First little speed bump on some of these, and I mean, you came up a lot. You came up a lot, especially for SWE. Your blood diamond here on the 5 hour. I was trying to take this hidden bull div the other yesterday. The 3 hour didn't work out so well. Got tiny, stopped out by a quiver, sliver, feather, and now we're trying to come back up. But yeah, I mean, that could be a little bit of a sideways week, and then hopefully, jumping up higher, maybe up to 103. For Bitcoin, you got ETH versus Bitcoin. I'm just looking at, what could potentially happen here. I mean, your 2 week is good, but this isn't the first time we've seen this. We've seen this two times before, and it didn't even damn confirm. It probably will confirm this time because we saw it, a few weeks or a month ago, and then ETH just fell off a cliff. But this could be, where we do hit it, where we do finally confirm that, and that could be potentially the bottom for ETH versus Bitcoin. So yeah, especially if you do see an end to quantitative tightening in a few weeks, or a little over a week and a half, May 7th, which is going to be a big day, FOMC meeting, maybe the end of QT. So yeah, what's up, Brandon? What's up, Johnny M? So that's what we're looking at right now in ETH versus Bitcoin. Others versus Bitcoin. I mean, this still is holding as long as you hold this general area, as long as you hold 2.39 million, whatever the hell that means. On others versus Bitcoin, then you should be able to generally continue forward, and kind of do something of this nature in this cycle, and do something of this nature, obviously a much diminished return version. Now, if we look here, let's just see how much. So it was about 20x against against Bitcoin, 1/5 of that. So, maybe, massively, diminished returns. You just get back up to where we were in January of 24. I think it'll be better than that, but we'll see. We'll definitely have to see. I would hope, you could do something like get back up to these highs, maybe even these highs, outrun Bitcoin by quite a bit, but we'll see. So yeah, what's up, Thano? And then, I mean, this SWE trade, I did take quite a bit of profits off of that, for obvious reasons. That was a good trade there. Trump's doing his dinner for his coin. There's a rumor he's going to launch a new coin in a week or two. Oh, man. He'll probably keep doing it like Dave Portnoy, just launch 20 coins. I don't even know what day. I think Dave Portnoy's done with that, but you would hope he doesn't launch another coin to kind of keep saturation. But yeah, we'll see. And I mean, I saw a post by, I think it was DZ in Discover Crypto, and I think at the time you only needed to have like $2,000 worth of Trump token to go to that Mar-a-Lago dinner with Trump or whatever. But that's, you probably can't even shake hands with him. You probably just sit there or whatever. But probably a little bit more now because people are going to keep buying it, like, topper holders, and it's up 100%. So yeah, but we'll see what happens. I mean, if you can, hold where we are right now, I think you got a good shot at $25. So we'll see. Definitely have to see here. Chainlink keeps making higher highs. I'm hopeful for Chainlink. I have a new trade in for Chainlink. If you guys are interested, link down below for the Discord. If you guys want to trade, check out BYDFI, down below. BloFin especially. Check out BloFin. 10% cash back on your first deposit, capped at 3K, which is still pretty good. 10% cash back on your fees for life. Only at my link. In addition, guys, check out the Bitcoin conference, 10% off. That's coming up pretty cool. I'll be there. BYDFI, similar to BloFin, 10% off your fees for life, 15% cash back on the first deposit. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, the AI. Yeah, you don't like the thumbnail? I thought it was kind of funny. What's up, DCF? I haven't seen you in a minute. Well, I got you to stop by, so. Yeah. This entrance, so yeah. So And then profits, a lot of profits were taken on this. I don't know if I'd go long at the moment after this giant jump on SWE, but who knows? Yeah, so Cardano, let's take a look. Yeah, a little choppy, you know, coming back down, some consolidation. Hopefully, if you could break above 75, I mean, 92 should hopefully be, you know, what's next, I would hope. I would think. I think you got a good, decent shot at that, you know? So, yeah. It was just ChatGPT, nothing too sophisticated. ChatGPT is probably not a good thing to make AI thumbnails. I don't know if you guys have any recommendations, but it wouldn't even make the damn thing in the right resolution. Like I had to tell it 4 times, like, okay, do it in this resolution. And you know what I mean? It's not there yet. It probably will be there in a year or two, but yeah. Okay. What's up, DCF? Appreciate you. But yeah. Yeah, it makes me look. I'd say that's yeah. It probably makes me look like I'm in my late 40s, early 50s or something. ETH stock to okay, 75, 1800 range was to yeah. I mean, everybody's talking about the damn weekly close or whatever. It's not something I pay attention to much, but you know, you close green, hike, and ashy. In all likelihood, you should continue this rally upward. You're going to get a green on the 2-week relatively soon as well, which is good, I think. So yeah. Just thinking here. I was looking at 8 point versus Bitcoin. Maybe, I mean, some of these you could be, maybe it's just wishful thinking, but some of these you definitely could be bottoming out against Bitcoin, I think. Yeah, 2-week is not bad. I mean, I would like the money flow to be a little bit better, but yeah, it's not bad. Bull div forming on the 3 weeks, yeah. New couch, yeah. Let's see. I really appreciate you, DCF. Yeah, well, I mean, when you're perma bull, then you eventually, you know what I mean? I've been more perma bull late, at least this year, you know. Let's see. Yeah, okay, what's up, Cole? Yeah, well, I mean, I'm living where I am right now. I'm in Mexico right now. Nice place. So yeah. Not a bad background at all, though. Not a bad background. I think I'm a little uneven with the camera, but not bad. I'm better in my own background in my own place. Let's see. H bar. See, H bar is a good one to look at. There's definitely something there. I think Kevin O'Leary mentioned H bar at one point. Yeah, I mean, trigger wave on the week. Yeah, I mean, I think you got a shot of rallying back up to 40 cents. I don't know exactly when, but you know, hopefully. I mean, maybe hopefully within the next like 4 to 6 weeks, and then summer lull, and then maybe even up to $1. You know, by end of year is definitely possible. That's kind of your old all-time high right there. So I'd say probably worst case scenario would be probably playing around with that again sometime this year. Let's see, drop. Okay, XRP, Firebuy. Okay. Let's see, Canada. Okay, Dwight. The weather in it's really hot here. Yeah, it feels almost like probably not as bad as Florida in the summer, but close to it. Everything's hot here, man, but it's good. So let's see. Let's see. Trigger wave right there. Yeah, I mean XRP. Yeah, I mean like a lot of other things, I think you could rally back up to 290. I feel like the greed may get a little bit too high once you get back up to these areas. I mean, not just XRP, for like crypto in general. And then you need that kind of summer lull or something. I don't know about if it's gonna be that bad, but there and then. I mean, some people are just so freaking bullish on this, but I just don't see. Like, do you guys think we could go above like freaking $6 in the next year? I don't think so. And you already had so much. I mean, it's already a goddamn $100 billion market cap. I mean, and what do you think? XRP is going to $1 trillion market cap? Maybe 300 billion. Maybe. Case. Let me look into I don't even know KC Exchange. I don't even know about it. Never even heard of it. I think the two best ones for non KYC are probably BitFi and BloFin. I'm open to other potentials, but we'll see. Spain is collapsing. So is it safe to travel? I would say, I mean, there's been, I mean, like most places in Latin America, Mexico's a big country. It probably depends where you are too, but yeah, and most of the pretty, safe tourist areas, don't be stupid. Don't walk alone, drunk at 3 a.m. You'll probably be fine. I think the big thing in Mexico would be, mugging is not too common in Mexico, but I think it's more getting caught in the crossfires sometimes. Like in the U.S., with shootings or whatever. They're not usually targeting tourists, obviously, but sometimes the tourists get caught in the crossfires. That's the big worry. It's not really Colombia. More of the worry is getting mugged, getting drugged and robbed. I would say overall it's safer than Colombia, but it depends where you are in Mexico, obviously. Yeah. I mean, like anywhere, anywhere could be theoretically dangerous. I mean, Mexico is not like, I'm just thinking like other, like, I mean, I would say it's probably not as safe as like Argentina. That's probably the safest, part of Latin America. But I would say it's one of the safer parts, or it's probably a little more dangerous than Costa Rica. But I would say definitely overall, like the place that's most dangerous that a lot of people travel to would be Colombia. Like anything else, you got to be smart. I mean, I'd say 90% of the time, bad things happen to people that are drinking too much, that are, flaunting wealth, flaunting expensive items, kind of making themselves a target. Jeez, Jesse Jacks. Man. I don't know if... I knew you guys would like the thumbnail. It's working. We got a lot of viewers. But, yeah. AI16Z, yeah. AI16Z, let's take a look. Yeah, I mean, you got a target up here. I don't know much about this coin, but sure, you could keep going potentially. Geez, James, you sound like one of those shills in the comments, like, buy this. Hope it's not a scam. Trigger wave forming right there. Pepe could have some. I think it's kind of over, but it could have some continuation. Thing with Doge is I would hope you would get, I mean, you could get back up to those highs. Our focus right now would probably be just reclaiming 30 cents and then at 47. I would say once Elon kind of leaves the Trump admin, which he probably will in a few months, that may be kind of an issue here, but who knows? It's kind of tough to say. It does look pretty good in the charts. I'll give you that. It does look pretty good in the charts. AVAX. Actually, let's look at the Binance. Hmm. Appreciate you guys. XCN. We'll take a look at that in just a second. Um. Yeah, so I mean, everything looks really good. You're still seeing rare bullish signs. I mean, so far, this just seems like kind of a speed bump. This little, if you even call this a pullback. I mean, you could try. A lot of times they get you on, people trying to maybe do a long like this. I mean, I would say more of the swing trades are a little bit more of the move, but I mean, you could probably just be liberal with your stop loss, but you could probably get something pretty good. I mean, if you want to be more, you know, that maybe, there's a lot of potential. XCN. I mean, this is a very weird chart, obviously. It's hard to say here. I could see both ways. Maybe, I mean, most likely if the market continues, you could jump up. If you could hold, 2.6 cents, 0.026, then you could jump up to maybe that area. Your all-time high, well, now hold all-time high area. I don't know. Deep. Yeah, I mean, some of these are tough for me to really, I mean, it's so hard to say for some of these. I mean, yeah, you're jumping here. There's some potential, but I don't know. I mean, look, kind of tough to say. So yeah. This chair is like mildly broken. I wish I could get this. I like the chair. It only goes back. I don't want it to go back. You know what I mean? So there's like some type of back support. It's kind of a slight issue with this. Can I make this a little bit higher here? Yeah, because you want it's a little bit better. So I could just sit like this, and then none of you guys could even see me. I think that's a little bit better. Yeah, I need something to prop up the monitor here. Yeah. Let's see. I think you should be careful about well, I mean, I think you should be careful about a lot of things, not just virtual, But yeah, I mean, it's obviously a very high risk, high reward play. If you're just buying just virtual, I mean, that's very risky. But if you have a diversified portfolio that includes, virtual, that's much less risky. I like virtual. I think we're hitting a big point here. If you could keep breaking up forward, maybe some potential. So yeah. Oh, XDX, XDC, no, XDC. You guys I'm probably gonna get freaking like banned from YouTube or whatever for asking this, but did Hitler have children? I don't even know. Did he have kids? Did he have grandchildren? I have no idea. They're probably, if they do, I mean, how old would Hitler's grandchildren would probably be freaking 50 years old if they do exist? Let's see, because he was what, 50 in 1940s, next generation would have been, yeah, his grandchildren would be old. I don't know if he had kids. I don't think he did. Maybe if he did, they were probably freaking hid the hell away after what happened. I mean, I think the interesting thing with that too is, you see the video of him. Joe Rogan mentioned it, where the guy's like tweaking out on meth, just shaking. The drugs give you false confidence, and I've seen that a lot. You see that a lot. The especially meth, especially Adderall. Like, you got to be careful with that. Not saying Hitler would have been good if the meth didn't exist. I'm sure, but I think it allowed him and the Nazis to kill a lot more people. Like, I think a lot more people would not have died if would not have been tortured, and one of the most, if not the most heinous things in human history. Well, I guess if you go back thousands of years, you can probably find anything with things more ridiculous, but one of the most, if not the most heinous thing in human history. I mean, I think less people would have died if the meth wasn't around. I mean, they were the ones that kind of invented the meth. Oh wow, a picture of his kids and grandchildren. I would guess they probably used different names or whatever, and tried to. I don't know where. Yeah, I mean, if you're related to him, you would obviously try to, not let anyone know about it. I would think. So yeah. I mean, there was what was it the guy? I mean, the Nuremberg trials. A lot of them they went to did they execute most of them? I forget. There was one it was the Nazi who said sorry. There was that story of the guy that what he did 20 years in prison and got out and wrote books or something. But yeah, I mean, we're kind of approaching. Let's see, it's 20. Yeah, not even. It's only been 80 years since all that, which is kind of crazy. We're approaching. I forget the exact years when it all started with the obviously the concentration camps and all that. Was that in the 1930s or was it? I forget how many years that was. Obviously, essentially going on. I mean, the view there was kind of. I mean, obviously too, like when you look at like towards the end, especially like with Hitler, like there's just so much overconfidence, and I think that was a lot from the meth, from the from the drugs, just so much overconfidence, and trying to, and that kind of like, obviously kind of helped the Allies in a lot of ways. Trying to go into Russia, that was obviously the big mistake. I mean, he probably, I mean, I don't know, I could be completely wrong. I'm not an expert on any of this, but I mean, he probably would have been able to get most of Europe, aside from Russia. And, if he just set a border there, he probably would have had most of Europe. So, I mean, I guess it works both ways. I'm just thinking about the meth, because that gave him the overconfidence. But then, without it, maybe he would have been more, it prolonged the war and he would have gotten a lot of Europe. I mean, he didn't really. There were some views that people thought he would have, went after the United States, went after that, after if he were to, get Europe or were to get Russia and all that. But I don't think that was really the view. I think he wanted to kind of create an empire like, like a Roman Empire, which was essentially all of Europe. I don't think the Roman Empire had much outside of Europe really, and then America would have had its. I wonder if the U.S. like in that scenario would have tried to take over. South America to kind of be more for. I wonder. I don't know. It's hard to say. And then obviously Japan would have. I think Japan. I mean, they had the Philippines. We really took the Philippines from the U.S. for. I could be wrong, but I think they had it for a few years during the war. And then obviously the American troops got it back, helped the Filipino troops, and they kind of got it back. I mean, but Japan would have had most of Asia. But yeah, let's see. Trying to break out. Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, that flood to Argentina. Yeah, I know about it. Yeah. Did they just release those files? Yeah, that was the view that some people thought. I mean, I have no opinion on it. I don't think it would have been so goddamn hard for Hitler to flee to Argentina. That was the view that he fled to Argentina and lived another 20 years. I mean, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I mean, just think logically, that would have been so goddamn hard to do. I mean, and fake your own death. I mean, that would have been so tough, especially on all the drugs and the meth and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he would have even thought that well, unless the people around him were kind of abandoning him. They were probably going nuts too. I mean, that would have been tough. Like, yeah, the people that were able to flee to Argentina, they weren't people with targets on their head like Hitler. You know what I mean? They were people nobody really, and yeah, they fled to Argentina. Yeah. You trying to break out? Let's take a look at that. Do I not think a major correction is coming for the S&P? Sure. I don't. How do you define major correction? I mean, we just had a major. I mean, do you confer? I mean, what do you mean by major correction? Like, what's a major correction? Is that down, 40%, 50%? Is 20% a major correction? I mean, is this considered? I mean, this was a 20%. Is that a major correction? I mean, if that's a major correction, we just had one. I mean, no, I don't think. I think we're going to generally continue forward. I think we could even. I mean, if you look at, let's just see here. I mean, where could you end the year? I think it's going to be kind of go down in history as like an average year or something. So from where we are, or yeah, I mean, you might be able to get up to frickin', maybe that's a little too optimistic. 690. I just want to look at this. So from this start, from there, that'd be about 14%. But really, when did we open? We opened the year a little bit lower, right? So we opened it here. Would it be a 17% year? I don't know. It could be. It was probably best case scenario, like a 17% year, 15% year. So yeah. Okay. So Hitler meme coin. God, I'm sure somebody's just tried to do something like that. That would get did down to hell. Freaking Kanye would probably. I'm surprised he wouldn't try to do that. I wonder if he'd get sued up the butt for trying something like that. He probably should. I mean. Um, Tons of new files released now because of AI. Yeah, that's the thing too with the damn files from like 80 years ago. I mean, even with AI, like, I mean, do you believe everything in those files is completely accurate? I mean, they didn't even probably have good record taking, and people probably just came with fake documents to Argentina. Like, do you think like, you know what I mean? Like, there's not, and a lot of them got away with it too. Probably they were like in rural areas or whatever. I mean, some of them did get caught, but you know, I mean, I don't think the AI, I don't think the documents is going to tell us too much. Maybe like a few names that nobody's ever goddamn heard of. That maybe we released. Oh, so and so, so and so insert German name here. He was involved in the. I mean, yeah. I mean, even like that's the thing too. Like the Argentinian government, like let's say Hitler actually escaped and fled to like Argentina. I mean, would the Argentinian government? They would probably never release something that would admit they just like let him flee. Do you know how bad that looks? Like they would never admit that. I don't think. Like they would never admit that. They would admit like some no names, yeah, that they had like no power over of maybe like got away with it with fake papers. You know what I mean? But they would never admit that. I mean, it would make their government look like such a joke, even if they didn't know about it. You know what I mean? Or they let it go. Like, yeah, I don't know. Link. Let's take a link and then I'll try to answer. Link by end of year. Yeah, I've talked about it a lot. I mean, I would say a really good goal. At minimum, you got a good shot at old all-time highs. I think you got it in you. You're making higher lows. And then some 80 is a good goal. At the highest, maybe 120. Hopefully we would see something like this, or maybe even faster, and then a little summer lull. I mean, I don't know. It's tough to say, but something like that. That's what I would hope. Tough to exactly say though. But let's see. I said, okay, Paul. So the thing is, after QT ends, if you see Bitcoin get a 20% correction, what typically happens is some alts, not all alts, but a lot of alts could hold up better. Maybe ETH, and I did say in the clip, maybe ETH holds up better, only 15%. I don't know exactly. But I do think they could come down, but I think a lot of them, unless, I don't know what the hell you're holding, but I mean, most of the legacy alts, let's say, larger market cap alts can hold up better in Bitcoin if history repeats. When ETH to the moon, well, where's the moon? Link to $42. Let's see, yeah. That's old all-time high, right? About, yeah. I think you can get there. Let's see, Argentina just... oh, that's wild. Wow, they were doing weird stuff to that's probably genetic defects and stuff. They're trying to get more of the population, probably expand the population more. Was that it? The the German population or something. It is pretty crazy to think about. I mean, a lot of, I think a lot of why, Hitler was able to, obviously accomplish the mass destruction that he was able to is, it really was a lot of scarcity back then. There was just so much scarcity, and he was kind of just able to pull it off in a way, and when people, when there's scarcity, people will strive for things. I mean, he was, in some ways, obviously it was called Nazi Socialist Party, and there wasn't anything socialist about it. That was just all propaganda. It was just all not, you know what I mean? It was just, we want to kill. His goal is just to kill all the Soviets, which were the main, kind of socialist propagators. But let's just use some of their ideology just to like brainwash and get more followers. He was authoritative capitalist essentially. He was for capitalism, but he wanted to control all of it. But it's just interesting. It was just all, obviously all lies. Let's see. Let's look at DOT. Let's see here. So yeah, I think the big thing with DOT is just if you can rally, which you maybe really do for, I know what you guys are looking at. I mean, you're really due for a rally upward. I mean, you're really due for this area. If you can get back above, I'm not the most hopeful on this making a new all-time high. I feel like it's just been, well, sometimes they when they, it's like you wind it up for a long time, then, you know what I mean? Like, it could, who knows? I'm not the most hopeful on this, but we could hope for $17 maybe. Or what did Argentina, like, there's probably a bunch of names nobody's heard of. You're saying Argentina confirmed Hitler fled there? I doubt it. That would have been huge news. Oh, about the twins. Okay. I believe that. Genetic mutation is probably highly unsafe, yeah. Highly unsafe, highly bad, but yeah. Especially freaking technology from 80 years ago, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't even... Like, hey, that's when you just invented antibiotics back then. I mean, that was that area too, that like, they were inventing some like, I mean, that's when rockets were being invented, obviously nuclear warfare, nuclear power as well, I believe. I could be wrong. I think that's, probably it would make sense, anything nuclear. That was just a big place in the turning point in technology. And now we're seeing AI, we're seeing, more, things start to happen about 100 years later. We're still... Well, I mean, yeah, we're still early kind of in that phase, but yeah. M2 global money supply. I mean, maybe I'm going to sound more like pro printing money, but I mean, I think you're better off to look at the Dixie versus things than M2 money supply. Like, M2 money supply is just pure on depressing, like how nothing, really goes up, I mean, it's like, where do you put your money in, based on, I mean, it would be a case for Bitcoin, obviously. We already know that, but I think you're better off to look at it about the Dixie. Look at it against the Dixie. But yeah, there's always money printing. $8. What are we talking about? Oh, Polkadot. Okay. After the war, that's why we were able to send astronaut to the moon via German. Is that proven, James? I have no idea. I mean, it would make sense. I mean, were they the most? I mean, the United States obviously had good technology. I mean, think about it this way: the United States had the nuclear bomb. They already had good scientists. They wouldn't have won. They wouldn't have won the damn war if they didn't have good technology and good. You know what I mean? The U.S. won the damn war. It wasn't German submarine. Yeah, I mean. It would have been so hard to get out of Berlin or wherever the hell he was. I think it was Berlin, right? Yeah. Do you really believe? I mean, I'm not saying it's not true. I'm not saying it's. I just think it would have been so hard to do that. Like, how do you get out? Berlin was surrounded by so many damn Soviet. All the allies were surrounding it. Unless he got out of there months ahead of time. Unless he was out of there months ahead of time when it was not as bad, that's he would have had to escape months ahead of time. I think it could that entire how the hell would he have gotten out of there? I mean, that would have been so. That whole thing was locked by so many soldiers. Are you serious? China recently made Trump. What? I would say AVAX is in the same waters, if not better waters. It looks a little bit better than most of the big caps. I don't know if that's true. China made time travel illegal. I don't know if that's true. Is that true? That's considered a science. Oh, I'm going off of goddamn Walter White and Breaking Bad, but that's considered a scientific impossibility. That's the other theory, that there are some scientific impossibilities, like super AGI would be a scientific possibility, but super AGI, like something that's smarter than humans, like in figuring out and teaching itself and all that, is kind of considered almost a scientific impossibility. There's some theories that we've reached peak technology. I mean, who the hell knows? I mean, in terms of some things, I think we're way behind, at least in healthcare, at least in other things. I mean, the Ozempic is considered the big thing. I mean, probably within the next 20 years, you'll probably have freaking, TRT and steroids that are completely safe or whatever, but that's probably the next thing, but yeah. My guess, too, within 20 years, you'll have a lot, 20, 30 years, you'll have a hell of a lot more to do for cancer. Like, you'll probably be almost, like, your life expectancy should be quite a bit more in the next 20, 30 years. They invaded half of Europe in less than a year. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, the UK, with America's help, fought them out pretty well. Fought them off pretty well. They invaded Poland. Yes, Poland didn't have much defense. They invaded, parts of the Europe, Eastern Europe, and that, and France. Those countries did not have the most defense. I mean, even just with some of our aid, with they fought off. I mean, it was very advanced, but I mean, I don't think they had a nuclear bomb. We did. They would have won the war, bro. Like, it wouldn't have been. They would have. I mean, they would have. They were very advanced, yes, but you know. Time and space manipulation. Well, when you travel very quickly in outer space, I think it's a different time thing, but I think you still age though or something. Like, it's a weird thing, but you can't, like, we're not at the point where you would really change time. Ah, going back in time, I feel like it would be, I could be completely wrong. I don't know. But going back in time, I think would be kind of a scientific impossibility. Kind of like, that would be kind of like changing the laws of gravity. I think going into the future faster could be more possible. Appreciate you up and run. So yeah. Let's see. I mean, that of the time too, like all this shit they had, like that was so, like, I mean, war and scared. The other thing about scarcity is it really forces people to be innovative and invent new things. Like, that's the crazy, because they're that. I mean, even after, like, I know Elon Musk said about like the moon landing. I mean, if you believe it actually happened, it did happen. But if you believe it actually happened in the '60s or whatever, if that did, yeah, we were just so ahead of our time to be able to pull it off, and that was kind of the Cold War. There was still scarcity, still reasons. I mean, there always is throughout history. It's just a different level of it. The good thing, though, that Naval Ravikant mentioned, and I hope he's right. Obviously to be positive, is the future warfare is just all drones, and then when one side's drones just get all shot up and destroyed, then the other side surrenders after that. Now, the scary part with that is, what if, you get some nutcase like a Hitler, like a, you know, wants to just kill off a population, like these damn purple-haired people that want to lessen the world's population. I'm just kidding, but so I had a bad joke. I probably shouldn't have said that. I'm just kidding. I don't think they actually believe that. But there are people, you know, there's that theory too that we're overpopulated or lessen the world's population. Just want to, you know, what after the other side surrenders, all the drones are in. What if the drones keep fighting the, you know, actual civilians? That's where you could get. You know, that's where you could get crazy. There's actually newer technology where a drone could, I don't know if it exists exactly yet, where a drone just flies up to you, you know, just kill it instantly. I don't know, it resists poison, she shoots her, but, you know. So that's where we're getting to, you know, the sad part of it. That's where we're kind of getting to, you know, it's getting so advanced there. So that could be the future warfare. I would hope, you know, I'd really pray and hope that doesn't happen. You know, I've heard different theories. You know, Ray Dalio said that if there is, he doesn't know, obviously, but I know in his book, Changing World Order, he said that if there is World War III, it probably would be, you know, worse than previous ones due to all the new technology. I don't know if that's completely true. You know, but it's going to be all drones if there is, you know, I mean, history would tell you there probably would be a World War III, you know, and interesting thing too, though, is you had World War One and then World War Two. I don't know. Nobody knows anything about World War One. You know what I mean? Nobody. That was in what year? 1914. Yeah, nobody. 110 years ago. Yeah, nobody even knows about. Were there veterans that fought? There were probably a lot. Were there quite a few people that were fought? Well, back then, no one lived that long. But I was thinking, because there's only like 20, 30 years apart. I wonder if there were people that fought in both of them. Nah, if you were 20, you would have been 50, probably too old. But yeah, let's see. Germany launched a rocket from Germany to London. See that this Berlin to London. Yeah, there were bombings in London. I mean, I don't know. Was that considered? That's probably not by today's standard. That's probably nothing. You could probably send rockets anywhere the hell you want now. Send them to Mars. um, Didn't we look at Axion? See the distance. Is what it's after the word. Yeah, they have that technology. Yeah, that's probably what progressed the U.S. I think I don't think the U.S. necessarily needed them. I mean, but yeah, V2 rock. Yeah. The thing though is, yeah, I mean, you could. I don't even know what the hell the V2 rocket was. Shows my ignorance. I could be completely wrong about it. I mean, some of you guys have studied this a hell of a lot more than I have. Let's see, nothing in 1941. 1941. Well, we had nuclear. We came out with nuclear for the. Yeah, we didn't have the rot, but after the war, we had. Okay, so you're saying it was all the German engineers that had. Yeah, I guess they were more advanced. I don't know. But I think America could have, without them, they still would have been pretty good in the space race or whatever. I don't think that was the complete, I think, you look at, obviously the big mistake, I mean, it depends how you define win the war. I mean, if you define it as, giving everything back, taking everything that Germany took, giving it back to them, liberating all the camps, and yes, it would have been harder to do so if Germany did not, invade Russia. But it would have taken longer. I think the Germans would have eventually, with Russia and then everybody, it would have been tough for them to, I think, you would have killed a lot more Soviets and a lot more, Jews, obviously. It's hard to say. I don't know. I probably sound ignorant. I don't know. You guys maybe you guys know more about it than me. But I don't think you would have came to I don't think it would have been possible for Hitler to take over the whole damn world. That's never. It would have been like him having most of Europe, probably not even the UK. I don't think. Maybe. I mean, but it would have been having kind of most of Europe, and probably Russia would have been on the Japan having a lot of Asia. Maybe Russia would have been on the Japanese side, and then. I don't know. Maybe they would have been independent. Who the hell knows? And then America probably would have been its own thing. Yeah. Last World War I survivor died in 2012. Okay, so it was about 10 years ago. ICBM. Yeah, we looked at this. It's hard to say. I mean, I don't know. It could jump up more. I don't know what that means. What's ICBM? That name sounds familiar. Werner von Braun. Cruise missile. What's a cruise missile? I don't even. Yeah, but the thing is, just because you had something doesn't mean it works. Like you look at like North Korea for the longest time, they're trying to they end up blowing themselves up. Like just because you kind of have a prototype, that doesn't mean like you know what I mean. Like just because they were working on something or had that doesn't mean it's gonna work and be the most Yeah, I think Bitcoin will crash maybe. Hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah. During the war. Oh, okay. Interesting. So they had more of a. I mean, Japan was pretty advanced, but I think compared to Germany and the U.S., not quite there. They were the most advanced in Asia, obviously, during that time period. Probably still would be the most advanced in Asia. I'm trying. Well, obviously China now, but yeah. Hmm. But yeah, let's see here. Is ETH pump? Okay, so yeah, you're sideways. I mean, the thing here is like what you could try to do if you just want to be in a trade. You could. Where's the? I was trying to find a trigger. Yeah, you could. So this would be your long idea. Something like that, 3-to-1 or whatever, or 2-to-1. I don't know. Or this would be your, kind of, you're trying to short, go above here and then try to do this. I'm trying to think what would, I mean, so here's how you get stopped out of both of these. That would be not what you want, but, hard to say. Let's see. The USA only had money, no technology whatsoever. Well, then how did we? Okay, then why did we have the nuclear bomb then? That's not technology. No, that Zelensky said we had the ocean. Yeah. Maybe I'm being too pro-America, but we had Einstein. We did have the nuclear. I mean, the view that the Japanese and the Germans thought during, or the Nazis and Japanese thought during, World War II is the Americans were too materialistic. They didn't have the heart in them to kind of fight, but it wasn't true. But yeah, I wonder if you were to 1920. I mean, the development of America in the 20s, 30s. Was it as developed as Western Europe at the time? I mean, Germany was poor, especially after World War One. I mean, they did have more of. I don't think it was that far behind, man. I mean, you had the nuclear bomb. You had a lot of. They didn't have money until the war started. The war made them, yeah. High inflationary time too, 1940s. I don't know what your JTWN. I don't know what that means. Trigger wave could bring us up. Yeah, it could bring us up. I mean, maybe we just bounce around. It could be a little bit boring for a little bit. Generally price, bounces around a little bit. Then I mean, it could be boring for probably not until May 18th, but week or two. Tough to say, obviously. Nobody knows for sure, but yeah. Hmm. thinking here? Trigger wave right there. Yeah, I think we should come up. You may have to play around with the spider line a little bit more, if you know what I mean. By the way, guys, if you're interested in trading, check out, it's pinned chat, is BloFin 10% cash back off your fees with my link for life, plus a 10% cash back in your first bonus, up to 3K. So it's really good. Similar thing with BYDFI, 10% off your fees for life, and then 15% cash back on your first bonus. Bitcoin conference, 10% off. If you want to go, I will be there. Only with my link down below. Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson's pretty good. Very gospel, like a lot of biblical interpretation. Kind of want to hear Jordan Peterson talk about like Eastern religions would be interesting too. Last hour of it seems good. Definitely got to finish that. Let's get into like more interesting stuff. I feel like that's what happens a lot. ETH versus Bitcoin. This could be, I mean, the thing is, we'll just take goddamn anything with this, you know what I mean? It's just so up to there, yeah. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys. Smash the like button. Always appreciate that, yeah. Let's see here. Right there. Yeah. So look, I think we're in a good shape. I think a lot of things kind of continue to do well. And I don't know if there's really that much more to talk about right now. I mean, look at the NASDAQ. You know, I think you generally could hold these areas, continue forward. Let's look at, I just want to see CNBC, what the ticker looks like. Yeah, I mean, we're NASDAQ down slightly, but that's, you know, basically flat. Oh, okay, huge power. Interesting. At least it's not freezing cold there right now. Dude, it doesn't even say the goddamn reason why this happened. Gridlock. Damn. New Senate Democrat. Yeah. Not biased at all there. Let's see here. Worst for the stock market since Nixon. Okay. But Obama's first. Yeah, I guess most of the pain was done there. I guess, yeah, because Nixon's got the R next to his name. That's why they probably hate him too, yeah. That was what they mentioned about Nixon, Jordan Peterson, and Rogan was interesting what they mentioned about Nixon. He was a very popular president too, but now historically, yeah, he wanted to know who was behind JFK. There wasn't much that came out of those files for JFK. There wasn't much. What was it? The main thing was Oswald was talking to goddamn people in Cuba or something. I don't know. There wasn't much that came out of that you wouldn't have guessed or already known. Nothing, you know, saying that he worked with somebody else. But there, no matter who was president, I mean, maybe it would take, maybe in a few hundred years they would release if they knew, but you know, they're never going to admit if it was an inside job. They're never going to admit that, guys. Come on, they're never going. No matter who the fuck the president, excuse the language, no matter who the hell the president is, that's never gonna. You could just speculate. But yeah. I mean, the thing too is with you know, you got RFK Jr. and he said, you know, the CIA killed his father and his uncle. Although, I mean, yeah, I mean, let's say they didn't. I mean, if both your father and your uncle died, you know, and they were in high positions, you would, you know, probably be conspiratorial as well, you know. Government inside of government, yeah. Thing too is like you gotta definitely want to be careful saying this stuff too. Like I'm not big enough for anyone to care, or any of you guys probably, but the bigger you get, you got to be careful. A lot of people go down when sometimes don't say anything too, that irritates the big masses too much. Nobody will ever know the complete truth. It's never, and no proof of any of that will ever come out, I don't think. If it does, it'll be 100 years. They probably destroyed all the evidence too. You got to think like those classified, those files were made and put there by the CIA, by the government agencies. Like they destroyed any evidence of that. Believe me, there's nothing that could come out that's going to prove any of that. The most that'll probably come out is what Trump already released or whatever, which tells us goddamn nothing, I mean, the thing too is like Epstein files. I mean, Trump's probably afraid. That's the thing too, because Trump's probably would be afraid for his life with that, because that may come out after everyone's died that was involved, like after Bill Clinton's gone and all of them, all those people that were on that list or whatever, for whatever reason, whether they were just kind of tricked into it and then blackmailed after Bill Gates as well, or they were actually doing bad things. I mean, intentionally doing bad things and knew what was going on. But that's not nobody's gonna release that. That's gonna be, and they probably have Trump, in some way, kind of, I don't know, what's it like. I mean, if he was ever to the island, like anyone who was ever to the island, you're already on the shit list. You know what I mean? Oh, okay. So you're saying that Einstein, yeah. Yeah, so yeah. I guess he knew some of the stuff that he learned in Germany. Yeah. I mean, population of America 100 years, like what was that? Maybe it's probably. I wonder what the plurality of people, or the majority of people, were probably of British descent back then. I would say now it's probably more. There were a lot of Italians in the turn of the century. Italian, German, and it was probably mainly Italian, German, and British descent turn of the century there, I would say. In America at the time, I could be wrong. I'm trying to think where else. I mean, most of the, Latin American immigration is more recent, probably within the last 50 years, last 70 years, probably after the war. It was probably mainly German, British, Italian descent, and probably some other from other parts of Europe. I mean, almost every U.S. president has been, except for Trump, which is hilarious, has been of some type of British. Oh yeah, Irish too. I consider that to be the same as British. Probably offended people by saying that, but oh well. Yeah, obviously a lot of Irish. But what was that? Yeah, Trump's the first one, and he's German, of no Irish or British descent. They've all been, except Martin Van Buren, I think was Dutch or half Dutch or whatever. But yeah. And I mean, obviously in World War II, the biggest ally, and still is to this day, would probably be the U.S.'s biggest ally would probably be the U.K., right? I mean, what other big ally would we have? I mean, yeah, I would think. Um, ETH compared to Bitcoin, so weak right now. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it could be a little bit suppressed, so we may get a jump up relatively soon. So yeah. But I mean, what to do right now? I mean, I feel like ETH could be the move. Trying to be patient and then long, or long with a lenient stop loss. I feel like I mean, what are your funding rates right now? Negative for Bitcoin. I mean, that's good. And you still got power left, I think. You got a lot of power left, in my opinion. TRX, I think, could continue. So yeah. Hmm. I think this should continue. We'll see. Anyway, guys, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. Not much else to talk about right now. A little speed bump. I think the market generally could keep going. We'll have to see what happens. Check out the link down below. BloFin, 10% off your fees for life. Come back to the East Coast. Okay, we'll see what happens. Anyway, so yeah, 10% off your fees for life. Hey guys, if you buy a Bitcoin conference ticket with my link, or open a breakout account, valuation account, or deposit at least $100 on BidFi or BloFin, open a support ticket in the Discord with your UID, and we'll give you a free month there. A lot of good stuff there. So check it out if you guys are interested. Go into